Tov, everyone. Erev Tov. And good Yontif. That's true. Yeah, in about 12 more minutes, it will be Yontif. It is 8 p.m. here on the east side of the United States, here in the diaspora. This is the House of Seven Beggars. Therefore, it must be Monday and Zeyde Story Corner. Yes, I did kind of forget that, didn't I? It is Monday, and this is Zeyde Story Corner. So we are going to continue reading the stories from Helm. Yeah, that's right. From the book The Silly World of Helm. And we are about a third of the way through the book, and you think we'll get it finished? I'm not sure if we'll get it finished before we go on our summer break or not, but we'll see. We'll see. So so Lag Biomer coming. Yes, Lag Biomer is coming. Getting a haircut? You betcha I'm getting a haircut. Yeah. Forgot before Pesach again, didn't you? Yes, I did. Yeah, I got so tied up in Pesach that I ran out of time to get my haircut before Pesach, so I am looking a bit shaggy. Yes, you are. Yes, yes. And I am looking forward to getting my haircut tomorrow. So, okay, let's check and see who we have in the chat room. We have Donald, we have Marshall and Shoshi, and more to come. Yes, more to come. Yes. They usually start drifting in after a couple of minutes after we get started. And so good to have you all here. So I guess we should probably, well, number one, wish everybody a joyous Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the counting of the Omer, and which will, as I said, will be coming up in a little bit. Sundown doesn't occur for about 12 minutes yet. At least here where we live, it doesn't happen for about 12 minutes yet. So anyway, so I guess we should probably, yeah, if you're done talking now, yeah, okay, I am done talking now, and let's get you onto your camera, and there I am. Okay, could you adjust my camera a bit? Yes, I can adjust your camera, no problem at all. Let's see if we can just get this. That's better. That's better. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Okay. Straighten your tie out, should we? Let's, yeah, yes. Thank you, thank you. Yes, want to look presentable? Yes, yes, of course. Okay, so let us get on with our stories tonight, eh? Okay, so this first story is called The Door. The Door, not the doors, the door. Okay, not the band, but the kind of thing that you put on your house, okay? Okay, so, the door. In the little village of Minsk is only a day's journey from the tiny village of Chelm. And Chelm, as we all know, is a village of fools. But in their own little way, they are smarter than most people guessed. And so it was really an occasion when it was announced that Reb Shmuel, Reb Avraham, and Reb Chaim said they were going to the village of Minsk to attend the wedding of a friend. As the three travelers prepared for their journey, the sage of Chelm greeted them at the town square. Reb Shmuel was carrying a huge barrel on his shoulder. The sage of Chelm looked at him curiously. "Pray tell me, Reb Shmuel, why do you carry such a large barrel?" Reb Shmuel smiled and said, "It is a long and dusty journey to Minsk. If, perchance, as we travel, we get thirsty, we will have some wine from this barrel to drink." "Indeed, a wise move," smiled the old sage. Just then, Reb Avraham turned the corner carrying a huge pot. "And what do you have in the pot?" asked the old sage of Helm. "I have a delicious stew that my wife just made, just in case we should get hungry on our trip." "Indeed, a wise move," exclaimed the old sage. In a few moments, Reb Chaim approached the tree, and he was carrying a door. Everyone looked at him strangely. They could understand why Reb Shmuel was carrying a barrel of wine, and even why Reb Avraham was carrying a pot of cholent. But why in the world was Reb Chaim carrying a door? The old sage approached Reb Chaim as the three men started on their journey. "Tell me," the old sage began, "and why do you carry a door?" Reb Chaim smiled warmly and explained, "It is now summer, and the sun gets extremely hot on the road. So, since my dear friends are thoughtful enough to bring along wine and cholent, I thought it no more than right to bring along a door, in case it gets too hot along the way. This way, we could open the door and let some cool air in." "Ah," smiled the old sage of Helm, "you are indeed wiser than the others." And so it was, from that day on, in the little village of Helm, whenever anyone had to take a long trip, they took along a door so they could open it in case it got too hot on the road. It makes sense to me. Okay, maybe not. So what? Okay. This one is called the door 2, as in addition to. Okay, the door 2, actually number 2, not in addition to. You kind of goofed that one up, didn't you? Oh, be quiet. Okay. Okay, so I misspoke a little. Politicians do it all the time. Yeah, I know, but you're no politician. I know, and I don't want to be either. Okay, so let us go on to the next story, which is called The Door 2. Okay. Once upon a time, in the wonderful world of Helm, a man came to the house of the wisest man in Helm, the old sage. "I have a problem," the man exclaimed. "Last week, when I went to the market to sell the corn that I had grown in my field, thieves came to my house. When they discovered I was not home, they broke down my door and stole all my worldly possessions." The old sage listened intently and tugged at his beard pensively. Indeed, that is a problem. But tell me, how can I help you? Oh, dear sage, the man answered, tomorrow I must go to the market once more. If the thieves come back, they will break down my door again. When they discover I am not home, they will steal what little I have left. Please, dear sage, can you help me? The old sage smiled. Of course I can help you. It is really so simple. When you leave for the market, you must remove the door to your house. You will take the door and your worldly possessions with you to the market. The man smiled uneasily. That is indeed good advice, old sage, but how will I get my 2 bags of corn to the market if I am carrying my front door and this sack with all my worldly possessions? The old sage explained once more. You will leave your 2 bags of corn in your house. When the thieves come and discover there is no door to knock on to determine whether you are home or not, they will look in a window and discover the 2 bags of corn. Realizing that you have nothing else of value, they will take the corn. Now, since the market is the only place they can exchange the corn for money, they will carry the corn to the market. When they arrive, they will see your door. They will put down the 2 bags of corn and knock on your door. When you answer their knock, they will realize that you are home and be so surprised. Fearing your wrath, they will turn and run away, leaving behind your 2 bags of corn. Then you will be able to sell the corn and return to Helm with the value of your corn, your worldly possessions, and your front door. The man smiled understandably and nodded in amazement. What wisdom! Bless you, old sage, for finding the answer to a most perplexing problem. Ay, well, okay. Enough of the doors, huh? Okay. We go on to the next story, which is Riders on the Storm. No, wait a minute. That is the Doors song. That would be on that. Never mind. This next story is called The Dream. Okay. Not the band. The Dream. Once upon a time, in the little village of Helm, a place known for its foolish souls, Mendel, the shoemaker, got up from bed. He turned to his wife Hannah and said, "My darling wife, last night I had a terrible dream." His wife asked, "No, my dear husband, what did you dream?" "I dreamed," Mendel explained, "that I was coming home from the shop. A ruffian grabbed me from behind and stole all my money. Then he threw me to the ground. I quickly got up and began to chase him, just to see if I could recognize who he was. I chased him and chased him, but since I did not have on my glasses, I could not see his face. It was a terrible dream, I tell you. Maybe it was something you ate before you went to sleep last night, Hannah explained. Of course, it is possible, but I would have loved to see the face of the ruffian who stole my money, Mendel sighed. No, smiled Hannah. Tonight, when you go to sleep, put on your eyeglasses. And if you are lucky, maybe you will have the same dream. Only this time, you will have your glasses on. You will be able to see who the ruffian was. Indeed, a brilliant idea. That night, when Mendel went to sleep, he wore his glasses. The following morning, when he awoke, his wife asked him if he had the same dream. You are absolutely right, Mendel exclaimed. I did have the very same dream. Since you had your glasses on, were you able to see who it was who attacked you? Alas, no, sighed Mendel. You see, when I had the dream the first night, it was a clear evening. Last night it was raining in my dream. The rain spotted my glasses so badly that I could not see. Indeed, a dilemma, sighed the wife. I can't think of anything more to suggest. Suddenly, Mendel had an idea. He would go to the old sage of Helm and ask his advice. Mendel ran to the home of the old sage and explained his problem. When Mendel returned home later that day, he explained the sage's solution to his wife. The old sage indeed has the wisdom of 1,000 men. Mendel could not wait for evening hours when it would be time to go to bed. Finally, darkness fell. Mendel put on his pajamas, reached for his glasses, and as he got into bed, his thoughtful wife handed him an umbrella. What you think about that, huh? Okay. So, this one is called The Dreamer. Seem to be getting a lot of doubles here. Yeah, except for that one where we had like 4 of them in a row. Oh, yeah, the doctor one, yeah. Okay, so this one, another one about dreams, called The Dreamer. In the little village of Helm, Moshe the tailor opened a new shop where he was to sell ready-made clothing. This was a new thing in Helm, because whenever anyone needed clothing, they would go to Moshe to be fitted and measured. It took weeks, even months, for Moshe to finish a garment. So, the opening of the ready-made clothing store was a sign of progress. After the first day, Moshe sat in his store and he began to daydream. I went to the big city and purchased the ready-made suits. Now, if I open another store, I would do twice as much business as I did today. If I made twice the amount of money, I would then have enough to open two more stores. Now, if the good Lord favors me, I would then be able to open more and more stores. I would never have to sit by my sewing table again. I would simply go from store to store to store to collect the money. He leaned back in his chair as he continued to daydream. Since I would visit each store every day, and if each store did well, I would have even 100 kopecks at the end of each day. But if I had that many kopecks, I am certain thieves that visit Helm from the neighboring village would know this. And then one night they would wait for me outside my home and rob me of all my 100 kopecks. Gewalt! I have been robbed! I would scream, I have been robbed! He didn't realize it at first, but he shouted so hard that his next-door neighbor heard the scream and quickly called Shlomi, the chief of police. Shlomi blew his whistle, and all the townfolks came running. Moshe, our tailor of ready-made clothing, has been robbed, everyone shouted. Then the old sage of Helm came rushing to the store. Moshe explained what had happened. Indeed, old sage, he cried, I have been robbed. The thief took all the money I collected from my 6 stores of ready-made clothing. The old sage patted Moshe on the head softly and said, You have not been robbed because everything you told me had an if in it. You said, if you did well in the store, you would get a second. And if you did well in the second, you would get a third. And if you did well, you would get a fourth and a fifth. So in order for this not to come true, if this store burned down with all the clothing inside, you would have no problem. Everyone agreed. Moshe took out a match and set fire to his new store. As the last ember burned itself out, Moshe breathed a sigh of relief. It is such a pleasure to have such a wise man among us. Oy, what aggravation I could have had. Oh boy. Okay. Speaking of politicians, this story is called The Election in Helm. As if Helm did not have enough problems already, now they are going to get involved in politics. Okay, so let's see what happens and if it makes at least as much sense as modern politics does, shall we? Okay. Once upon a time, the village of Helm decided it was time they had a mayor. Every community has a mayor, Muzzle the tailor declared. Since our village has grown, we too should have one. Everyone agreed. Now, the question was, who should run for the office? After many discussions, it was decided that Yankel the butcher should run for the coveted position. Listen, Chaim, the farmer exclaimed. If we are to have a real election for mayor, we should have more than one candidate. How would it look to the others if Yankel was the only person from all of Helm who we deemed worthy enough to run for office? So, it was decided to have Tevye the milk farmer run as an opposition candidate. The following week, everyone gathered in the center of the village. It was election day. Everyone who wants to vote for Yankel, please raise their hand, announced Motel. Wait, wait, shouted the old sage of Helm. We must use a secret ballot like the other communities do when they hold elections. Therefore, I want everyone to close their eyes when they cast their vote. Good idea, exclaimed the Motel. Listen up, everyone. All who want to vote for Yankel, raise your hand and close your eyes. Now, shouted Motel, everyone who wants to vote for Tevye, close your eyes and raise your hand. Then the old sage of Helm stepped forward, beaming happily, and announced, You see, my dear friends, we have held our first election in Helm. It was done honestly and without argument. And what pleases me most is that we did it by a secret ballot. He then turned to Motel and asked, Now tell us, who got the most votes? Motel's face grew red. Then he raised his shoulders in a shrug and said, I really don't know. When I voted for Yankel, I closed my eyes. And then, when we asked everyone who wanted to vote for Tevye, I too closed my eyes to keep it fair. The old sage of Helm smiled broadly and announced, Because we must conduct our elections honestly and by secret ballot, let it be written that both Tevye and Yankel will be our mayor. Yankel will be mayor for 1 week, and Tevye will be mayor for the next, and so it will be until our next secret ballot election. And so, that's the way it was in the village of Helm. The villagers sustained their secret ballot, and no one was ever a loser. Boy, I gotta tell you, this makes a lot more sense than sometimes the elections we see here. Yeah, well, yeah, okay. I think you might be right in that. I know I'm right. Okay. What do you think, huh? Okay. Okay, let's see. We are about halfway through our time tonight, so I tell you what. We are going to take our break, and when we return, we are going to find out about the electric car in Helm. So, Elon Musk, if you are out there listening, pay attention to this story. Anyway, so we will be back in 6.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
It's intermission time, folks, so hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right over to our refreshment center for the most extravagant array of refreshment goodies ever assembled under one roof. Enjoy breathtaking, mouth-watering goodies, everything from a snack to a delicious full meal. At our refreshment center, you'll find a large variety of goodies to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, or your sweet tooth. So hurry, hurry, hurry. Visit our refreshment center now. The show starts in 5 minutes. The show starts in 4 minutes. The show starts in 3 minutes. The show starts in 2 minutes. The show starts in 1 minute. And now, on with the show.
And we are back. Okay, so now we are going to hear about this Tesla. No, actually, it's an electric car. It's called, the story is called The Electric Car. Okay. You know that Eli, he's a smart bocher. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he is a pretty smart young man. Yeah, we watch the SpaceX all the time. Yes, we do. We actually watch the SpaceX launches and very impressed with it. Yes, they are very good. Okay, so let us get on with this story, shall we? Okay. Okay, I'm going to warn you, Soshi. Be careful. Don't choke on this one. Okay, because I think you might just. Be careful. Okay, so the electric car. Once upon a time, in the silly world of Helm, a salesman was passing through. I am selling one of the most remarkable vehicles of all time. Sounds like Elon, doesn't it? Yes, it does, doesn't it? He announced, this car travels without mules, horses, and even without gasoline. It works only on electricity, he said, as all the citizens of Helm gathered around the salesman. Chaim Yutz, one of the brighter and wealthier citizens of the silly community, stepped forward and said, I will be the first one to buy this invention. If it proves to do what you say it does, you may return at a later date and sell others. The first Tesla dealership. Okay, let's get off of Elon Musk and Tesla. Huh? I'm just saying. Okay, I get it. Okay, so anyway, he paid the salesman and drove the car home. A few weeks later, he decided to take a trip in his new automobile to Minsk, which was some 500 miles away. This will be the perfect test, he told the sage of Helm, the wisest man of all. And so it was. Chaim Yutz started out from his tiny village. The weeks passed, and there was no word. When lo and behold, one day, the tiny vehicle appeared on the horizon. He must be returning from Minsk, whatever. Okay, he must be returning from Minsk. The children shouted with glee. In a few moments, Chaim was back in the village square, and everyone crowded around him. No? So tell us about your trip. Did the car do what the salesman said it would do? Did it run without mules or horses or even without gasoline? Chaim shook his head and proudly announced, "The car did exactly what the salesman said it would do. It rode beautifully without mules or horses and even gasoline. And it is true it runs on electricity. I was able to make the trip in half the time it would take with horses. But it is a good thing I am a rich man, because the trip cost me a fortune." "Why should the trip cost you a fortune?" they asked. "There were no horses to feed, and no gasoline. The car ran on electricity, no?" "Of course," Chaim Yutz declared. "But you should see what I had to spend on extension cords." And so it was, till this day, in the silly village of Chelm, whenever anyone wants to buy a car, they have to guarantee the car will run from Helm to Minsk without an extension cord. What do you think of that, huh? Okay. Word to the wise, Elon. Word to the wise, eh? Okay. This story is called The Elephant. Okay. Once upon a time, a small circus passed through the tiny village of Chelm. Their money had run out, and the owner of the circus was forced to sell the animals. He came to the house of the sage of Chelm and said, "My friend, I have a magnificent elephant to sell. Are you interested?" The old sage listened carefully. "An elephant? How much do you want for an elephant?" The circus owner said, "Give me 50 groschen, and it is yours." The old sage thought and exclaimed, "Let me ask you, what would I do with an elephant? Can it plow a field? Can it pull a cart to market? What would I do with an elephant? It takes up so much room. I would probably have to move out of the house with my wife to make room for the elephant." "But," exclaimed the circus owner, "an elephant in these parts is rare. How many people would pay you just 1 groschen to see this huge animal? You will find that it makes a wonderful pet. And if you ever need shade, all you have to do is sit in the shadow of this beast, and for that reason alone, it would be worth 50 groschen." The old sage shook his head. "No, I don't think I can use the elephant. It would probably eat us out of house and home. Truly, what would I do with an elephant?" Just then the owner said, "Look, I'll give you 2 elephants for 70 groschen." The old sage smiled and said, "See, now you're talking. It's a deal." So, if you ever go through the village of Helm and see 2 elephants standing in the town square, you must be on your guard. Because a Helmite really drives a very hard bargain, whether he needs the item or not. Kind of fumbled that line, didn't ya? Yeah, okay. Who fumbled the line, eh? Okay. Whether he needs the elephant or not. Ah. Ay. Okay. Okay, so. Well, I see Ted has joined us. Good to see you, Ted. Okay. And I thought I saw Kelsey Lynn. I'm not sure. But anyway. Okay. This story, you might remember this one from earlier. It's a kind of the same thing, but not quite. Okay. So, this story is called The Elevator. One day, a merchant from Helm made the trip to Pinsk. While in the city at a large hotel, he saw an elevator for the very first time. And he didn't realize what it was. He returned to Helm and told the people a truly amazing story. They all ran to the sage. "Oh, wise sage, we heard something that you will not believe." "Tell me about it," said the sage. "Last week, Chaim was in the big city of Pinsk. He saw the most amazing thing. There is a room in which old people enter and young people would come out." The sage pondered this. "Could you carefully tell me what you saw?" the sage of Chaim asked Chaim. "Well," thought Chaim, "I saw an old man and an old woman wait in front of this closed door. Then suddenly the door slid open. The old couple went in and the door closed. A moment later, out walked two young people. Tell us, great sage, how this works," pleaded Chaim. "Amazing, truly amazing," thought the sage while stroking his beard. "I am making a trip to this very city shortly. There I will see for myself this wonder. Then I will have an answer for you." The sage of Helm departed for the big city, promising to come back soon. A few weeks later, the sage returned to Helm, his face aglow. "Tell us, great sage, what is it that makes you so happy?" the people asked. "I am happy to announce that there will be no more old or young people in Helm. Everyone can be whatever age they want. I have really seen it. There is a room in the big city which can make old people young and young people old." "How does it work?" the people shouted. "It's really quite simple. The people stand in front of the room, and before they enter it, they press a little button which says up or down. This lets them choose which age they want to be. So, I propose that we build such a room. And this is why, in the little village of Helm today, you see a little room which has buttons for up and down. Whenever a person wants to feel older, he pushes the up button, and stands in the little room until he feels older. If he wants to feel younger, he pushes the down button. Okay. Let's go on to the next one, shall we? Okay. And if it was only that easy, huh? Yeah, you and me both, buddy. Okay. We got that little room over there. Maybe we could do that with that one. Well, that's the closet. That's where we keep this stuff. Yeah, but I know it's got some room. You could stand in it. Yeah, well, okay. Maybe we'll give that a shot one of these days. Yeah. Let's do that, huh? Shall we? Okay, we'll see if it works. Okay. This one is called The Emergency. In the little village of Helm, the old sage was considered the wisest man in the world. Whenever there was an emergency, regardless of the hour, he was consulted. And so it was. One night, the skies opened up and snow began to fall. The snow fell, kind of sounds like this week up north, huh? Yeah, maybe a little bit. The snow fell for hours, and you could barely see the rooftops of the little homes in the village. Early in the morning, Hannamolka knocked on the door of the old sage. With tears in her eyes, she cried, "Please, you have to come. My husband is lying near death. He slipped in the snow, and now he is so ill he cannot move. He begged me to call you. Maybe you can save his life." The old sage and his wife got dressed and trudged 3 miles in the heavy drifts to Hannamolka's home. The sage went into the bedroom to sit at the side of the mourning man. He closed the door and sat silently with Moshe. The minutes ticked by. Soon the door opened slowly. The old sage looked at Hannamolka and said softly, "You had better gather the relatives. You must call his 3 brothers and their wives to come to his bedside immediately. Also, he has 6 cousins who live but a short distance away. They must come to his side at this very moment. Also, you must get the doctor from the next town and tell him to come immediately." As the old lady began to put on her coat and go gather the relatives and friends, she heard a noise from the bedroom. She ran in and saw her husband sitting up in bed. As she walked into the room, he jumped out of bed screaming, "No! Don't you bring them here! Who needs them? They only want my money." As the old sage and his wife trudged the 3 miles through the snowdrifts towards their home, the sage's wife asked, "Was he really so close to the end?" The old sage smiled warmly. "He is a long way off from the end. In fact, he may outlive us all." "Outlive us all?" gasped the sage's wife. "Then why did you send his wife to all parts of the village to gather up all his relatives and friends on such a bitter night?" The old sage smiled warmly and said, "I knew just the thought of all his relatives coming to visit would get him out of bed. Plus, when you come to think of it, why should we be the only fools to come out on a night like this?" I like this guy. I'll tell you what, I like this guy. Yeah, he's something all right. Okay. Okay, now we get into the The Encyclopedia of Helm. Oh, this ought to be interesting, eh? Okay. I think this might be the last one. We will see. Okay. Okay. Let's see. If we get through this one, maybe we'll have time for another one. Okay. The Encyclopedia of Helm. Once upon a time, in the little village of Helm, it was decided that they would create an encyclopedia that would encompass all the great knowledge handed down by their old sage. The learned men of Helm met in the house of the old sage. There is one question that must be recorded, Shmuel, the water carrier, exclaimed. Why is it that I, a man in his late 50s, do not even have a single hair on my face? By this time I surely should have a beard like most other men. Maybe the great sage can tell us why. The old sage smiled and replied, Apparently you take after your mother. Therefore, let it be written that a man who resembles his mother naturally will not have hair on his face. Shmuel raised his eyebrows in amazement. It is true. Everyone says I do resemble my mother. And it is also true that my mother did not have a beard. And so, it was recorded. O great sage, Shlomi the farmer called out, I have a puzzlement. How is it my wife's brother has one leg shorter than the other, yet he can cover the same distances I do? The sage replied, You forget that although he has one shorter leg, the other is longer, and this compensates for this short leg. Therefore, his legs are actually the same size as yours, since both touch the ground at the same time. Everyone was amazed. What wisdom! What genius! What baloney! Okay, let's just get on with the story. Okay, so, tell us, O sage, why is it cold in the winter and warm in the summer? Asked Chaim the tailor. Let it be recorded, the old sage explained. In the winter, we light the stoves in our houses to cook our meals, but keep the windows closed. In the summer, when we light our stoves to cook our food, we leave the windows open. Therefore, it is obvious that the heat from the stoves warms the outside air, and that is why it is warm in the summer and cold in the winter. Shoshi, you should be paying attention to this. Now you know why. Okay, way up there in Canada. Okay. Tell me, wise sage, said Pinchas the woodchopper. Why is it that the Lord, with all his great wisdom, brings snow in the winter when it is freezing cold, and not in the summer? The old sage smiled knowingly and explained, The reason the good Lord brings the snow in the winter when it is cold is because if he brought it in the summer when it was warm, it would melt almost immediately. Then, of course, what would be the point of bringing the snow? Everyone agreed. The wisdom of the old sage could be matched by no one. Okay, that is going to do it for us for tonight. We will have to read the Encyclopedia of Helm Part 2 next week when we are together. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed the stories tonight. Don't forget, on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern is the Torah study with Rabbi A. and Reb Reuben. And on Friday night at 8 p.m. is Kabbalat and Mariv Shabbat service and Shabbat Shachrit and Musaf on Shabbat at 10 a.m. Until the next time, my dear friends, we shall say Laila Tov.